Just another Monday.
Welcome to Monday Mumday. We're Joey and Emma,
bringing you a new,
real,
raw parenting podcast series.
talking to experts,
Celebrities
parents,
and influencers,
to shine a light on the areas of parenting that are overlooked
unspoken
or not Instagram worthy. We say that every day is a Monday for a mama. Please subscribe,
like,
comment,
and follow our journey on Monday Mumday.
Joey Kendall Brown.
Emma Soraya Beard.
Thank you for listening! Hello and welcome to Monday Mumday. We are so excited to tell you guys that this episode is sponsored by Nano Baby.
They are such a brilliant brand. They've just launched in the UK. They have designed the first baby bottle specifically for breast milk. So ideal for all you mamas out there who are breastfeeding and expressing.
Nano Baby epitomises everything that Monday Mumday is about, preparing and empowering parents.
Its unique design means it both cools down and warms up twice as fast as a standard shaped bottle, so it helps preserve the nutrients in the breast milk. And its breast-like shape means it's easy holding for little hands.
It's super simple to use as you can pump directly into the bottle as it comes with an adapter that fits most pumps, so no chance of spillages.
And finally, the bottles can stack on top of each other for easy storage in the fridge. Such a smart design.
So whether you want to get your partner involved, you're struggling with feeding, have to return to work, or just need a break, it's the perfect companion on your breastfeeding journey.
It's available in John Lewis, Mamas and Papas, or on Nano Baby's website at nanobaby.co.uk.
Today we talk candidly with podcasting royalty, TV and radio presenter and stepmama to Isla and mama to kitten Luna. It's the stunning Zoe Hardman from Made by Mamas. We'll be talking all things relationships after baby, how we navigate the highs and lows of parenting, is there such a thing as perfect parenting, and do you have to be on the same page to parent successfully? Thank you so much for joining us.
What a nice intro. It's so nice because I'm normally the one sitting there doing the intro, so that was really lovely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for taking the time. We know you had a stressful night last night.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the best night I've had, but I feel like they know exactly that you've got something in the diary for the next day, so they just stay up for 5 hours during the night just to piss you off.
Yeah, I might have just
always
texted
the
you
way.
last night because I was with the boys as well. I thought, yes, they're starting to sleep through now, and then no.
The minute you say it as well, I feel like you jinx it.
I don't talk about sleep because we get it. So
You can't. You've got to keep quiet about it because the minute you start going, we've got this, we've nailed it, we've done the control crying thing, he's sleeping through the night, then they just play up.
I know.
I walked back into the bedroom last night at about 10 to 4 and I just said to Dozza, that's it, I've had enough, I'm done now, I'm done. He went, done? Exactly, what do you mean by that? Like with this marriage or with the children? I was like, everything, I've had enough.
Life is over.
I felt exactly the same. I felt like I needed to clock out last night. I was like, I can't do this. And so many times throughout my first year being a mum, I thought, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I just need to, can I just stop for a second, be me for a moment?
Yeah.
You feel guilty saying it, but you do feel it.
It's really important to say it, I think, because there's so much going on social media that portrays parenting in a really, which it is obviously a very positive experience, but when you're seeing all these parents just nailing it and you feel like you're not, because you feel like a failure because they're not sleeping or they're not eating or they're teething and you don't know what to do, it's like, it's really hard.
I know.
You feel very lonely,
well,
don't you?
and everyone says it's a phase, but that kind of annoys me because you go from one phase to the next and they're all hard.
It's one big phase.
Yeah.
And also you try everything as well to get it right with the sleeping. You know, you go through everything people say, all the advice people give you, and then it still doesn't work. And then you go, what the fuck am I supposed to do now?
I know, except for cry or drink.
Both.
Yeah.
But I find crying and
Cry
drinking
into your wine.
aggressively is good.
We call it wine o'clock because I whine and drink wine. Zoe, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into Made by Mamas and what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, so I have been TV presenting since I was about 19, 20, and in a very weird twist of fate, Emma is married to or partner to Danny, who I did my first ever TV show with. So it's come really weirdly full circle, and now we're here doing a podcast
That's
together.
crazy, literally crazy.
And then in the last sort of 5 years, I've done radio. So I do my Sunday breakfast show at Heart, which is 6 till 10, which is like a dream come true. I absolutely love that job. People always go, "Oh, you have to work on a Sunday." I'm like, well, I'm a parent, so there isn't a weekend anymore.
No,
So I'm quite happy to leave the house on a Sunday morning. Goodbye.
Yeah. You actually go to work and it's like your day off.
Also, nothing opens till 11. So you end up being like stuck at home with like torrential rain, nothing on TV. The kids are like going crazy, and then you end up at the garden centre at like 11:05.
Gone are the days of having a really nice Sunday lie-in with the papers, potentially even morning sex. I mean, what even is that?
Who knows? A thing of the past. That's what it is.
I can't remember it. What is that?
Yeah, but I love it. Yeah, and then Made by Mamas is something that started in a coffee shop in Cheltenham. I looked over, I saw Georgia sitting there, she was pregnant and she looked a bit sad, and I was like, "You pregnant?" She was like, "Yeah." Imagine if she said no, but luckily she said yes. And I said, "I'm pregnant too." And then we got chatting and we ended up living on the same road.
No way.
It was so weird. The whole thing was some like weird fate thing. And then we spent the whole first year of motherhood together in Cheltenham because our partners were playing for a rugby team there and a football team there. And then we just started talking every day, obviously, about what had gone on the night before and how knackered we were and how we felt there was no support for parents and there was all this judgment online and it was so scary. We were like, hang on a minute, let's start somewhere where there's a safe space for parents to come and feel loved, and that is Made by Mamas, really.
And you guys do it so well as well, because I know there's a few like different platforms out there or people out there talking about it, but I think that because you're so natural and open and honest, it actually makes you feel like you're part of the journey with you guys. And for me, I love sitting and listening to it in the car, and I feel like I'm having a little coffee with you guys when you're doing your podcasts.
Well, thank you for saying that, because that was really why we started it, because I just feel that nobody says, and we've just talked about this off mic, that when you become a parent, there are all these cliches that people say to you, like, "Oh, isn't it the best thing ever?" And you're going, is it? I think it is, but I'm not sure if I think it is all the time. Obviously, it's wonderful, but I just want to make it okay to say you're not okay, and you're not feeling okay, and you're not nailing it, and you're not smashing it, and all these phrases that people say to you. I just want everyone to feel that they can say what's really going on.
Yeah.
You find yourself at like baby groups, don't you? And everyone else is buzzing on life, and you're like, oh, I really don't want to be here.
I definitely felt odd because I was the one that was like, I'm not enjoying it. I'm really finding it hard. And crying basically in these, and I actually didn't get out of the house till the boys were 5 months old. That's how hard it was for us.
But you've got twins. I don't even know how you start dealing with that.
I know. I also think maybe because we were new parents, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. But then I think about the multiple parents, the single mums, and I think, God, you know, there's people out there who are experiencing it as well, probably even harder than I am. And I thought, God, I'm such a failure because no one else seems to be talking about it. So it's great that you're doing something that's being open and honest and having them conversations that parents don't feel isolated, because I massively felt isolated. And so that's kind of why we did Monday Mumday as well, because we wanted to sort of put out there that it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, exactly the same. I mean,
it's a very silly thing to say.
I mean, I go through phases of like overly moaning and overly loving parenthood.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that there's a happy medium, but it definitely helps having you in my life.
And now me. Don't forget about me. I think that, you know, you're talking about this phase thing. I think that for me, and I think actually, if you're really honest, having some time out from parenting for a bit, like for example, going to work, or even just going and just remembering that before you had your kids, you actually just really enjoyed going to a bar.
Yeah.
Or like
you had a life.
You had a life.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget about that when you have your child. Whatever we don't have family around us. We don't have parents that can just pop in, or, you know, my sister lives 2.5 hours away. You know, things like that. So we've actually got a childminder that we can use, and I'm quite okay with leaving them there and being like, right, see you in 10 hours.
And also, they don't care. That's what took me like a long time to get my head around. I was always like, oh no, he's going to miss me. And then I'd walk back in and he wouldn't even turn around from what he was doing. Yeah. And I'd be like, I'm the only one that's thinking about this, not him. He's definitely not going to remember when he gets older.
It's that terrible mum guilt thing, isn't it? Like, I didn't realise that starts from the moment you take that pregnancy test.
Yeah.
And you're constantly worrying, like, what am I putting into my body? I'm only on the beige diet or whatever, and you're throwing up and you can't have anything. And then you have the babies, and then you're thinking, oh, I haven't got time to bake them cinnamon swirls or whatever else you want to make them. And you're giving them Ella's Kitchen packets and they're great, they're organic, but you feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
It's just...
I know,
insane.
and then you see other people doing these amazing home-cooked meals.
Batch cooking,
and
it's
you're
not
thinking,
for me.
oh, what do you want for dinner? Chicken nuggets. Luna says it every night. Chicken nuggets? I'm like, you can't have chicken nuggets again. And I find myself shuffling out the dinosaurs and just putting them into the oven, being like, well, that's turkey or chicken.
Yeah,
exactly.
Surely
do you know
that's
what?
good for
I
them.
wish Knox ate chicken nuggets.
Oh,
I
no,
have to have like spaghetti bolognese every night because it's the only thing he'll eat.
Can you ram like secret vegetables in it though?
Yeah. I blend veggies into like cheese sauce and stuff like that. But
I mean, Kit's the dream. Kit eats anything.
Does he?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's actually, in my experience, it's been a boy and girl thing because, and I hear that a lot, that the boys tend to be quite good eaters, whereas Luna's much more picky. Like she'll like see something and be like, don't try and fob me off with that. She's so smart. She's like, what's that? I'm like, it's a green chip. She's like, that's not, and it's a courgette. She's nailed. I like even slice it into courgette fries. Yeah, you try anything, don't you?
Yeah.
Whereas Kit's like that, roast,
my boys
so
eat
steak.
lucky.
Yeah, my
Do
boys
they?
eat
Do they?
everything.
Yeah.
And I have to get it in their mouths so quickly. It's a
So
challenge. The spoon's like that. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah, you get
Military
really
operation.
you get really good at it,
Yeah,
don't
you
you? Yeah, that mum guilt thing, I think that never goes away, and I still feel that now, you know, being a working mum and being away from them, and I probably experience it. I have experienced it quite heavily, and I went back quite early after Kit, but I love my job. I'm not being dragged away from them. I actually enjoy getting on the train and going into Heart or going to do a day's filming or writing or being creative. I just feel like it makes me a better parent. I think we should banish mum guilt.
I think that you're so right about it making you a better parent as well, because you've actually had time for yourself, a moment to think, something you love. So when you go back, you want to enjoy them, don't you? Otherwise, you're stuck between four walls doing nursery rhymes all day. And for me, it's just too much.
And I also think that they're going to have an amazing mum to look up to that is doing something that they absolutely love.
Yeah.
And, you know, they've got someone to sort of, an amazing role model. So if any mum's like worrying about that, about going back to work, think of it like that. Think of it as like you're setting them an amazing example, working mum who's getting out there and doing things. And then alternatively, if you want to stay at home and be with your children, that's absolutely fine as well. Whatever decision you make, it's just got to feel right for you.
Agreed. And I think actually, the parents that stay at home and look after the kids all day, every day, wow, hats off to them. And, the single parents that are doing it on their own, God, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You are my heroes, because I just don't think I'd be able to do it.
No, we couldn't. I was like, right, we need to get them in nursery at 6 months.
Yeah.
And I had that little moment of feeling guilty, and then I saw the joy that they had.
Yeah.
Felt like more myself,
Yeah.
and my partner and me started to sort of like feel better in ourselves, and then we were like, no, we made the right decision.
Definitely. And I think as well, having children there is no handbook what's right and wrong. It's what works for you. And we talk about it a lot across Made by Mamas, that there isn't a right thing to do or a wrong thing to do. There's just whatever works for your family unit. It's the same when it comes to your relationship. You have a child, you think that everything's going to be fine, and then suddenly you're with your partner, and like you don't even know how to do that anymore because you're so exhausted.
Did you find there was a huge dynamic change with you and Doza?
Yeah, it was more like he had done it before, but he never made me. He's so good. Like Doza, I'm lucky because he's really hands-on, but he never made me feel like it was his second time round.
Yeah.
Like when we had Luna together, it was like it was his first baby. So he let us find our feet together again.
That's so nice, and not like kind of forcing his like values and opinions on.
Because let's be honest, he was the one that knew what he was doing. I didn't know.
Did that give you like a peace of mind?
Confidence,
Yeah.
Knowing that he kind of knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So you can relax a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I still definitely wasn't relaxed first time round.
I don't think anyone is.
Damn it!
They're lying.
You were going to say you did feel better.
I definitely felt he's really calm.
Yeah.
And I'm more like, up in the air Scorpio type.
You're same as Danny. He's like that.
Yeah, he's a Scorpio as well, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
We're Tauruses, so we're both stubborn.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we never argued once, and then we had Knox, and we probably argued most days ever since. And, like, we're fine now because we've got into a groove, but I think hormones played a massive part in it for me. Like, I was nuts. And I can say it now because I feel like we've come through the other side. But before, I was like, no, my way or the highway.
Yeah.
And you just can't help it, can you?
Yeah, I feel very strongly that women, because we are born with the ovaries in the home to house a child, there is a certain sense of, I own the baby, the baby's mine. And I feel we hear a lot across our platform that partners are feeling excluded in the first 6 12 months of baby's life, because the mum might be exclusively breastfeeding. They feel that they don't have a role, you know, they're not changing the nappies in the right way, they can't get involved at night feeds, you know, and I'm massively pro a 50-50 split of, just because I've pushed this baby out or had this baby delivered out doesn't mean that baby is my baby. So Dozza and I are very much equal partners when it comes to bringing up our kids.
I think that's really, really important.
I agree.
I also think that my partner certainly, I think, had an expectation that I would know what I was doing, and I also thought that I would know what I was doing as being an auntie for many years before I even had a baby.
Yeah.
And then when the babies arrived and I was completely clueless, I think it was a bit like taken aback by
it's utter shock,
baby, I
isn't
thought
it?
you knew what you were doing. And I was like, well, no. And then we had this almighty sort of like disagreement about the fact that, well, I thought you knew what you were doing. And I was like, well, I thought I did too, but I obviously don't.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to figure it out together. And he's like, okay, cool, but just letting you know, I thought we knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
So,
Was he good?
Yeah, it's been really, really good. It's tested our relationship in so many ways. It's definitely been up and down, because I think that you have this preconception of what parenthood is, and then when you actually you're actually experiencing it, you're sleep deprived. You're not really eating that well because all you're thinking about is a baby. By the time it's 12 o'clock, you haven't even eaten anything
Or drunk a glass of water.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're at your worst, I think, as a person, and then you're taking that out on each other. Like our situation was quite different. My partner is an actor, so he was able to take some time out to help me initially. We don't have family like you, Zoe, around to support us like on a weekly basis. So he actually had to take a whole maternity leave time out to help me, because I was really struggling with the two on my own.
Of course you were.
I mean,
And
I've
so
seen
I
it
think-
firsthand. Danny is like one of those dads who says it's all really difficult but actually glides through life. Like, I've seen him with both of the boys, and he's such a great dad, isn't he?
Yeah, he's brilliant.
And
He's a
so
good dad.
supportive, and
Yeah.
like, I think he's just really good at making a comical kind of twist.
Okay, yeah, because I see his Instagram posts.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah,
isn't
they're
he?
hilarious.
Yeah, I think that he kind of wants to put it out there that it is hard.
Yeah.
Like he would outwardly say, "Don't have kids," joking.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
Andy does the same.
Yeah, but because he honestly had a cushy life before.
Yeah.
And now it's like, I can't do all the things that we used to do. So you do have to adapt, don't you?
Of course you do. And it is, and we joke about, don't have kids and all this stuff. I wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
And I'm sure we all agree on that.
Yeah.
It is the best thing that I've ever done. It's been the complete making of me. I feel like I'm a totally different person to pre-kids. And I'm a better person. I feel like I know how to really love and like put somebody else first, which is what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So it's been amazing, but it's definitely
The hierarchy changes at home, doesn't it? Because at first you idolise your partner,
Yeah.
don't you? And literally, I would have done anything for Andy, and now Knox is like that for me. And I think that was the
Really?
different, like that's what Andy struggled with the most,
Really?
because he was kind of like knocked off the first place, and he really, really, really struggled in the first year, that he was just like my waiter, basically, because we had zero sleep. Knox moaned all the time if you put him down, and we didn't get to do anything together, even like watch TV, because
Yeah.
Knox was up till 11 o'clock.
Oh my God, that is tough.
Yeah, and then I'd go straight to sleep, and then we were kind of like passing ships in the
It's
same
amazing
house.
that you can actually hang on to a relationship when it's pushed to those extremes.
I know.
Did you have any moments within your sort of maybe first year or even now of where your relationship was really strained?
I mean, the thing about him and me is that I feel like Dozza and I were like made for each other. I feel like we were put on the planet for each other.
Yeah.
We're really similar creatures, and I actually always, for me, the kids aren't okay if we're not okay. So I've always prioritised our relationship. And
You've spoken about this a lot, actually, on Made by Mamas, haven't you? And
Yeah.
I've definitely taken on board some of your advice.
it's obviously, babies' needs come first and
Yeah.
everything, but I'm happy to put them aside to make sure that him and me are really rocking, because without us two, there isn't a foundation for that unit.
Yeah.
And
And the kids can sort of like
they can.
feel it, can't they? If you guys are arguing, like Andy and I were arguing today because we took a wrong turning on the way to getting to London, and Knox started moaning immediately just because he could hear us
Yeah.
kind of clashing
Yeah.
or whatever. So you're so right about making that foundation stable in the first place.
I just think, and it's, you know, the sex thing was interesting because, you know, as a single couple, as without our kids, I mean, we were just doing it whenever we wanted to do it, and it was great, and it was hot, and it was happening a lot, and it was like, yes, we've got this nailed. And then, of course, you go through labour, and you're like, I'm worried about my vagina. I'm frightened that it will never be the same. And I kept looking at it in a tiny compact thinking, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then you have to turn your body from, you know, breastfeeding and feeding a child, which I did for the first couple of months, to then, let's be sexy. And I was like, I don't feel sexy.
No,
I feel
that's
gross.
the thing, isn't it?
And
Like,
also,
how can you fancy me? Because I look like hell.
And especially like when you've got milk still in your boobs and then it's squirting out in the midst of having sex. It's like, it's really hard
so
to like,
weird, isn't it?
You kind of ignore it while it's happening, but inside you're thinking, oh my God, in my internal conversation in my head is like, oh my God, there's milk coming out. This is awful. This is gross.
I know. And then it's like, is it doing it for you? It's like, no, none of this is doing it for me.
Do you know what? Like, actually, for me, it was much, like, it was amazing before.
Yeah.
But even better.
So you're having better sex now?
Well, like, less often.
Yeah,
as
less
you
often,
say,
yeah.
But, like, Andy and I will always have that, like, chemical kind
Yeah, great,
of,
brilliant. I mean, that's amazing. And
I
probably
think
more because
you
you've had the baby.
appreciate it more now. And also, I think it just sort of, like, can I really say this on a podcast, but loosened everything up a bit.
Oh, right, loosened yourself up a bit. Yeah.
And now it's like, poor Andy had, like, not much chance before because it was that kind of tight.
Oh, wow. I mean, you've really gone there.
Yeah, so pregnancy and birth for me was...
Your fanny's flappier.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, well, great.
There you go, everyone.
No, I think it does change. It does mix things up, and it does change things. But I think it's harder to keep the chemistry alive because you're knackered. That whole like, I'm too tired thing. It's
and
just
that's me quite a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And then ideally you'd want to do it in the morning, but then in the morning you've got like a couple of children in your bed. So how does that supposed to work?
We don't.
No, because they come in.
Well, ours is trapped.
Oh, he's
and
still
he sleeps
trapped
till like 9.
Yeah, but he's still trapped. You see, you wait when you can't trap them anymore. Luna comes in every morning like
Just you wait.
She just waits at the bed, and I just wake up
Open
and she's
your eyes
just
and she's
staring
there.
at me. There's nothing more frightening than seeing a tiny, tiny ghost girl standing by. It's like my childhood nightmares are coming real.
That's so funny.
If she said anything, it would be great, but she just stares at me. Yeah. Okay, thank you. So no.
Lovely awakening.
But I think it's really important to
Find the
reconnect
time,
as soon as you feel like you're physically able to, because the sexual connection and actually the physical act of having sex, I think, heals a lot of wounds.
Yeah, definitely. Did you purposely make time to have them date nights, them moments where it's just you two?
Yeah, we try and do something, whether it's not even leaving the house sometimes, but we'll cook some food together in the kitchen and have a glass of wine, and the kids are in bed, and we'll just try and remember the romance and remember who we are to each other, because otherwise you get to the end of the day, you're so tired, you've done bath, you've done bedtime, you fall onto the sofa, and then you're like watching something shit on Netflix.
Yeah. Have you been on a holiday on your own?
So we went, we went to, not just the two of us, we went with a group of mates, but when Kit was just a few months old, actually, my mum was over from Kenya, and she absolutely adores the kids and is amazing with them. So we went away for a friend's 40th and went away, smashed it up for 3 days, and that was brilliant. Yeah. And then this summer we went away to Ibiza for 3 days together.
Did you find that you got maybe judged by doing that? Because I did. I went away with my partner Danny. The boys were 5 weeks old. Yeah. And we went to the lakes for 2 days on our own because we were like floored. We needed time to reconnect with each other because we hadn't, knee deep in nappies. And this woman started talking to us, a walker, and she said, how are you doing? I said, I've just had babies. She goes, how old are they? I said, they're 5 weeks old. She went, and you're here, where are they? And really judged me. Have you experienced anything
I think it's a
like
generational
that?
That's
thing,
awful.
Yeah,
I hate that
awful.
you've been through that.
Yeah, and I cried instantly.
Of course you did.
As soon as she said it, I burst into tears. So I honestly had a little bit of feeling like, where are they? Are they going to be okay with my mum? Worrying. But I needed that time to connect, and we did have the best 2 days, and we came back energized and ready to take on the world.
2 days isn't even amount of time.
But also it's your choice what you do.
Yeah.
Okay,
But I really
they're your
did feel
babies.
judged and felt like, I hope other mums don't feel that, because it's so important to have that time away.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you went through that. I hate that. It's awful. And I hate that woman for saying that to you, because that's just not okay. And it's whatever you choose to do. And if she didn't even agree with it, that's fine. But just reserve your judgment, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it a bit, because not so much I mean, there was just a couple of messages on Instagram that I'd gone away. Kit was only 9 weeks old at that point, and I had stopped breastfeeding because of his reflux. But to be honest with you, I wanted to go away and have some fun with my friends, and I felt like, because the age gap was so close between Luna and Kit, I felt like for 2 years basically I'd just given myself to the kids, and this was my first trip away, and I knew they were in safe hands. You know, he was comfortably on the bottle by that point. That was my choice, and I just needed it. I needed to go away and have some fun. I just wanted to dance and drink alcohol
and remember who you were.
And just that is still who I am, actually. I still enjoy doing that, and I don't want to stop doing that because I've got children.
It's that balance, I suppose. It's trying to get that balance, and that can be really hard. I mean, I'm desperate. We are desperate to go away and get some time connected.
We'll take the twins.
Yeah,
we'll take them. Of course we will.
Right,
love
you've said
to.
it on here now, so you
Dozer will love it. Dozer will love it.
You'll knock on the door and there'll be no answer.
We've gone. Unfortunately, we've gone forever. I think you should. I think it's important. Definitely should. What would you do? A week?
Oh God, that would be heaven.
Wouldn't
but
it?
the only problem is getting childcare.
Well, you've got childcare, so
yeah, it's fine.
A week.
you guys can have
let's
3
do it then.
days. We'll have 4 days.
Yeah, it's fine. Done.
Right, it's done.
Not
I'll get the
to get
dates
used to
over
some
to you
other kids.
both. Have you both got different sort of parenting techniques? Has that ever sort of maybe sort of put a curveball in?
It's the only sort of time we ever get really like passive aggressive on each other, like darling, but darling, we agreed that no, darling, you said this. No, but darling, I've changed my mind now, darling. And it's like, that is frustrating. But generally, we try to kind of talk it out. We're real talkers. Funny that. Dozer, when I met him, obviously, ex-rugby player, didn't really have that sort of level of communication. It was just kind of like lads banter, and I really made him kind of break down his poor Dozer.
Does he enjoy it though?
He loves it now. Well, he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
I just make him talk it out. We do this thing called appreciation, where every couple of weeks we sit on the floor in front of each other and tell each other for 5 minutes. So I'll speak for 5 minutes, then he talks for 5 minutes about why we appreciate the other person, and we're not allowed to speak.
Yeah, this is great.
Time.
I was listening to that episode. Like, as you can tell, I genuinely do listen to you. And I told Andy about that. We haven't done it yet.
You need
but
to
he
do
was
it.
on board with the idea.
Chuck in the mix, nudity and some candles, and it's really fun.
Oh my God, I'm going to do this when I get back.
Yes, because it's so nice. I really appreciate you for X, Y, and Z. I really loved it when you did this.
Every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks, on a Sunday night.
That's absolutely unbelievable, and the best thing I've heard.
Yeah, we've got an egg time. Well, it's not an egg timer, but it's a phone timer that I got it from Davina McCall.
Did you?
Well, she did the timer thing where she says something and then she handed it over to her partner. But there's a guy on Instagram who's my best friend, but he's the naked professor, and he's the one that gave it to me to do
Such a good idea.
It's really good.
How would you advise other parents to kind of get that balance that you guys have and do that 50-50 share?
Oh God, I don't ever want to say what I think is like. It's entirely what works for you, and I always have to say that because I never want to be like, oh well, you should do it like this. But I do think, even if you're exclusively breastfeeding, there are things that your partner can do at night. And that, for us, was puffing up a cushion behind us, going to get a glass of water. If I needed something to eat, Dozer was there, holding baby's hand. Like, I realised that, and he had to get up and go to training the next day, and he would still go through it with me because he was like, if you're going to be shattered, I can deal with being shattered as well. So I think that you can get them involved even if you're just on the boob.
And did you do that with both kids?
Yes, with both kids. And then when it came to bottle feeding, when we transitioned over, Dozer would do, just as much as me, making the bottles, sterilising them, feeding baby, taking them out for walks whilst I got some rest, just... It's a partnership. It's a team. It's not just, oh, well, you go to sleep in another room because I've got to get up and go to work. What do you think I'm doing? I'm getting up and going to work, even though I'm staying at home all day looking after a child. It's exactly the same thing for me.
Yeah. Did you have like a plan of action before you guys fell pregnant of how you wanted it to pan out, or is that just something that naturally happened?
Yeah, it just naturally happened. I don't think you can. I'm just very lucky. I do feel really lucky because I know that it's not other people's reality, but communication for us is absolutely key. We talk about everything, and if I'm not happy or he's not happy, we'll bring it and talk about it and try not to turn it into an fucking hell. I don't even know if I'm getting it right or not, but I'm trying.
Yeah.
We're trying.
Yeah, I think it's the thing, like you think, is there such a thing as like a perfect parent?
No.
Yeah, but there isn't, is there? It's just you muddle through. Everybody muddles through, and some may seem to be doing amazingly, and some may not. But ultimately, we all go through them pains, them experiences, them lows and highs, and it's okay, isn't it? It's normal to experience them dark, deep, horrible moments, and equally them amazing highs. And I think it is that you go from one extreme to the other, don't you? And it's quite overwhelming just experiencing all of them emotions. And like you said, I love how you were saying about how you have that timer and you have them conversations to appreciate each other, because you both are going through this together.
Well, also,
experiencing it.
you wanted kids with that person because you loved them. So just reiterate why you love them.
Yeah.
I guess. Don't forget that.
Exactly, and don't use all the other stuff as an excuse to not say it. I think it can get quite dark in the first few months after you have a baby, because for me the baby blues was so savage, and I didn't know how to. I've always been quite in control, or at least I was always able to articulate how I was feeling, and suddenly the waves of anxiety and the waves of tears were just flowing, and I was locking myself in the bathroom, and I stopped talking to Dozza, and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "I don't know." Didn't know. So I think at that point as well, we had Roxy Nafusu on our podcast, and she's amazing. If you can have a conversation with her about mental health, brilliant. And she was saying that at that point you've really got to articulate and try to tell that person how you're feeling, your partner, because they feel isolated, you feel like you're on the depths of the despair, and if you're not saying what's wrong, it can be hard for them too. Oh God, I definitely experienced that. I remember feeling like my body had changed. I felt different about myself, I felt different towards my partner, towards my boys, and it felt so overwhelming. And these surges, like you said, of these emotions were so overwhelming that you couldn't, because I've always been able to articulate, but I couldn't. And it did put a distance for us. And so it's so important to just try and have that conversation with them at that point. Agreed.
So Monday Mumday podcast series is all about how hard parenthood can be. What have you found the most challenging, and why do you think people don't talk about it?
The most challenging is the sleep deprivation, and people don't tell you about it because they don't want to scare you before you have children, but you've got no idea 4, 5, 6 months in, 7 months in, what that sleep deprivation can do to you as a person. And it's definitely rocked us right to the edge.
It's
really,
the worst, isn't it? Because that's when you're at
worst.
your most touchy, when you've had zero sleep.
It's finding somewhere to be able to get that expert advice that's not got money behind it. I've been preyed upon so many times on Instagram from sleep experts seemingly going to give me advice. I get on the phone for half an hour, but at the end of it, it's going to cost you £600, and it's like, what? It's really scary. But I think it's something that you just have to go through. And I think if I could offer any advice to parents, it'd be, before you have the baby, that sleep thing is an issue. So maybe think about, booking some time in for grandparents, or maybe saving a little bit of money towards paying for someone to come and maybe help, like a midwife, who does sort of night nursing or whatever. Because I think that would have taken the edge off.
Nobody tells you how bad it is. Nobody tells you how bad it can get, and you do need to be aware of that. And I think also labour stories are really important. I think a lot of people don't want to hear them, and that's absolutely fine. I wanted to be armed with all of the possibilities that could have happened during labour, and I don't think I was. So after Luna, I was traumatized by what I had gone through after 3 days of it, and I really wish that I'd heard some more honest birth stories. So I think for me that would have helped me, because I could have known that my birth plan was going to go off, because I was just determined to have in the water, no, I'm going to do hypnobirthing, I'm not going to have any drugs, and Dozza was great and didn't try and push me into it. But what I really needed to hear after a day of trying to give birth was, you could just have an epidural now, just take it all away.
I know, that was my theory, just give me everything I can possibly have to make it. But I didn't actually get the chance to have an epidural.
And also you can have these birth plans, you can have these visions of what you want, that's fine, but on the day things change, and you just got to know that things may change, and that you're going to have to adapt. I never knew that I was going to have an epidural, nearly be rushed in for a C-section, and then have the babies literally dragged out of me. I never thought that was going to happen, but it did, and you almost just go, okay, that's fine. It is what it is, let's just go with it, whatever's going to make the safest route of these babies out and me safe. And however much you plan, sometimes it gets taken out of your control.
Yeah, and I think everybody else, you may do hypnobirthing, you may go and speak to another expert about it, you might do NCT, you might do all of these things, and they have a very one-dimensional look at what's going to happen during your labour. So when things do change during that whole process, you almost feel like a failure afterwards, because you're like, well, that didn't happen, but you said it was going to happen and now it hasn't happened. So I think more fluidity during labour is key.
Yeah,
if there was one piece of advice that you wish you'd been told before becoming a parent, what would it be?
Your child will ask you the same fucking question 50 times in a row and not stop. So learn to deal with that.
Yeah.
Where are my wellies? I don't want to wear my wellies. I want an apple. I don't like apple. I want some toast. Where's my toast? I don't like the hard bits.
I don't like crusts.
Fuck off. No, actually, fuck off. I'm having a fucking shower or I'm doing a poo. Leave me alone.
Yeah. You don't have any time to yourself.
Just go away.
Yeah.
Luna, this morning, I was like, go away.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. Please leave me alone. I was like, please leave me alone. Leave me alone. Just go. I love you so much, but I'm about to lock myself in a garage and never come out. Naked and wet from the shower.
Oh, God. Bless her. At least you know she loves you.
Oh, my God, she loves me and I love her. It's not about love. It's about irritating statements and questioning.
Exactly. Zoe, thank you so much. It's been such a joy. It's so nice to hear your honest opinions on parenting.
Yes.
It makes me feel so much more empowered and feel like I'm not a bad mum.
Of course,
I'm
you're
doing
not.
all right.
Yeah.
And also sharing your positive views as well.
Yeah.
And how we can
Thanks, guys.
get the balance.
Yeah, I mean, we're just winging it, aren't we, really?
Yeah.
We haven't got a clue what's going on. We just hope that they don't turn out to be absolute psychopaths.
Yeah. That's all we can pray
That's
for.
all we
isn't
can
it?
pray for. Yeah.
You can check out Zoe on Heart Radio, also on Made by Mamas. Go. The podcasts are insane. They're so good. They're so honest. And we are in awe of you.
Just another Monday, Mumday. Just another Monday, Mumday.
So Emma, before we go, can you give me 3 reasons why you love our sponsor Nano Baby so much?
This is really easy to answer. Okay, 1, as I said earlier, they're great for stacking in the fridge. 2, you can pump them directly into your bottle using their adapter, so no risk of spilling.
Woohoo!
Yeah, and you preserve the nutrients in the breast milk as it cools down and heats up twice as fast.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Honestly, though, I really wish that this brand was around when I was breastfeeding the twins. I had so much anxiety around this. I used to hate when Danny would leave and I'd have to do it all on my own, and this would have just taken all of that stress out.
And I love the fact that it's shaped like a breast for easy holding for little hands.
Yeah, the twins are currently making me do all the hard work. And so I'm hoping now they'll be able to grip onto that bottle and just toddle around drinking the milk, and I can just sit and have a cup of tea.
So whether you want to get your partner involved, you're going back to work, or you just need a break like Emma,
Yeah, I need a break.
it's the perfect companion for your breastfeeding journey.
Available in John Lewis, Mamas and Papas, and Nano Baby online.
www.nanobaby.co.uk.
Thanks for listening.